In this video we'll be looking at solving equations. In my first video on this we looked at the more basic examples to understand the foundations of solving equations. In this video we'll be looking at the harder, more complex situations, often targeted at level 5 and above, probably reaching up to about level 7. So let's have a look at the first question here. 2 bracket x plus 6 equals 18. Now I'm actually going to split the page up into two here because there's two main ways we can do this. The standard way that I would recommend doing, if you aren't very familiar with this topic, is whenever you see a bracket, expand it. So 2 bracket x plus 6. Again, if you haven't seen my expanding video, please go and watch that first. That will help a lot here. But 2 bracket x plus 6, we can expand that to become 2x plus, and then 2 times 6 is 12, and that will be equal to 18. Now, just like in my last video, when we approach a situation like this, we want to take away the 12 from this side to eliminate it from the left-hand side. So we're going to be left with 2x equals 6. And again, if you want, you could write these down on the left and right-hand side. And then finally, because it's 2x equals 6, divide that by 2, x must equal 3. Just like that. Okay, so that's one method we could do. Now, the other method is when we've got the bracket written next to the number like this, that indicates that they are being multiplied together, hence why we can expand that bracket and multiply it the way we do. Instead of expanding that bracket out, which in reality could bring some mistakes, so it might not be always the best thing to do, we could just straight away divide both sides by 2, and that will eliminate the 2 on the left-hand side and leave the right-hand side just to be 9. So we can say x plus 6 equals 18 divided by 2, 9. And then from there we can easily see x equals 3, because if we take away the 6, if this 6 comes over here as a takeaway, then that's what we're going to be left with. But yeah, you can see both methods get you exactly the same answer. Perfect. Okay, second question. Now this is a bit harder because we have x's on both sides and we haven't seen that before. So before, ultimately we wanted to get the numbers on one side, leaving the x alone on the other side, on the left-hand side. If you have a look at these examples, you can see we start with letters and numbers on the left-hand side. And as we get down to the next step, it is just letters. So that's the aim that we want to do here. So we want numbers on one side, letters on the other side. It's always good to keep the x's positive. It makes it a lot easier. So what we're going to do is this 3x is bigger. So we're going to try and bring the x's over to that side. So the x here, because it's a positive x at the moment, if we want to take it across, just like with everything else, we have to take away that x. That will eliminate it from the right-hand side. So if we take away x from both sides, that's going to leave us with 2x minus 4 equals, it's going to cancel that x out, and we're going to be left with minus 6 here. So you can see we're basically back to something that we're very familiar with now. Okay, so now we just want to move the number onto this side, and we've basically completed it. So if it's negative 4 on the left-hand side, we want to add 4 to counteract it and put it on the other side. So 2x equals, and then minus 6, add 4. Think of your number line. We've got minus 6 on the left-hand side, and we need to add 4 places back towards the 0. That's going to leave us with minus 2. And then divide that by 2, we're going to be left with minus 1. And that is our second question done. Okay, so similar question, but we've just got a division in there this time. And whenever we've got a fraction like this that spans the whole expression, 5x plus 10, it is important to get rid of that first. So we want to multiply both sides by 5 here, because a fraction is ultimately a division. If we multiply by 5, that will counteract it. So leaving us with 5x plus 10 equals minus 5x plus 50. Again, be careful, we've got a negative here, so make sure that follows through when we do it. Now you can see we've got a situation similar to the last question, and we want to keep the x's positive again. So we need to get rid of this negative x, and again by doing that we can add 5x to both sides. So we can add 5x here and here, and that will leave us with 10x plus 10 equals 50. We see this plus 10 here, we can subtract 10 from both sides. 10x equals 40, and then divide that by 10, x equals 4. If you're not 100% sure on the methods I used to do that, go back to the other questions as I explained it a bit more in detail there. Okay, for our final question, we've got one more question after this, and then that should cover everything. Okay, so for our final question, we have two fractions. A 6 and a 3 are the denominators of those fractions. The most consistent way that I want to teach you to do this, that works for everything, is cross-multiplying. So similar to the adding fractions that we did right at the start, when it comes to cross-multiplying, we ultimately want to take this 6 up there and this 3 up there. So imagine it as multiplying by 6 and multiplying by 3. So we're going to have 3 lots of 3x plus 9, and that is going to be equal to 6 lots of 2x plus 10. Now, we know how to expand brackets using our claw method. So 3 lots of 3x and 3 lots of 9 and 6 lots of 2x and 6 lots of 10. So 9x plus 3 times 9, 27. 6 multiplied by 2x gives us 12x, and 6 times 10 gives us 60. So this time we have the bigger x on the right hand side. So again, to keep it positive, we want to move the 9 across to the right hand side by subtracting it. So let's do that first. So if we subtract 9x, that's going to leave the left hand side with no x's, just the 27. We're going to have 3x here and 60 there. Now this time we want to move the 60, because we want the numbers on one side and the letters on the other side. This 60 has to go across, because otherwise the numbers would be on the same side. So to do that, we have to subtract 60 from both sides. That is going to leave us with minus 33 on the left hand side, and therefore x, divide that by 3, and x is going to be minus 11. Okay, one more example. So this time we introduce a square number, so the x squared. Now again, I'm going to use the method, the alternative method that I taught you at the start when it comes to brackets, because in this situation it will work a lot quicker. Now because that bracket is there, that indicates that the 4 is being multiplied by that x squared plus 2. So we can divide by 4 on both sides to get rid of that 4. That is going to leave us with x squared plus 2 equals 11. Now again, just like always, we want to get rid of the plus 2 first. So we can subtract 2 to eliminate that. So x squared equals, and then 11 minus 2 is 9. And then x, we want to take the square root of it. So x is going to equal the square root of 9. Now a little trick here, this is definitely more for the higher candidates, but when you take the square root of a number, always remember that number could be positive or negative. So our answer is going to be x equals plus or minus 3, because minus 3 times minus 3 will equal 9, as well as 3 multiplied by 3 equaling 9. So always be careful to watch out for that plus or minus when it comes to answering these. Thank you for watching, and I hope that helped.